So what is the best way to learn a board game? That's the question we're going to explore. That's what we're going to look at, because as the hobby has grown, as the board gaming hobby has grown, what we see, certain titles, certain games are very, very complex. Very complex. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Other systems, say like Hero Quest, because it's being re-released and the countdown is, I think we're about 7 months away in theory from the initial re-release. When we explore that, the rules are very, very simple. And then there are some systems where the rules are about midway, or maybe they're a little bit complex, but the rule book is just so awful, so absolutely awful. Either some pieces were missing or just it wasn't presented very well for whatever reason. And the game appears a lot more complicated than necessary. But the idea is you're staring down at this box of cardboard and plastic, maybe with multiple expansions. That Kickstarter has arrived, and you want to jump in. You want to jump in. How do we explore that? How do we play it? Well, I, of course, start with the rule book. And I like to play an introductory scenario, or just whether it's a solo game, a co-op game, or even a one versus many game. Those first couple of games, I'm just kind of working myself through the rule book. A couple of systems that I have are competitive or one against many. When I was learning Conan, just literally I'm going to play the Overlord and I'm going to play Conan and friends. And just the idea being, what if I move here? How do I roll these dice? What if I do this? How do I manipulate that? I think that's kind of the first 3 or 4 playthroughs as you analyze it. That's going to give you a foundation. That's how I learn in the beginning most of my games. What is really, really helpful, but not always possible, is if you have a friend to teach you the game, or you've experienced the game a number of times and now you're buying your own copy. When I was jumping into Mage Knight, I didn't have any friends. I mean, I had one friend, but he had moved away. We were going to try and Zoom/Skype and play it through there, but we just weren't able to connect. Learning Mage Knight alone, that was a little bit challenging. When I jumped into Zombicide Black Plague a number of years ago, now, admittedly, Zombicide is kind of a beer and pretzels game. The rules are not overly complex, but there's a couple of little nuances or questions here and there. I felt very comfortable because I had played Zombicide Modern and Black Plague 20, 30 times with a friend of mine. So at that point, I loved the game so much, I'm like, I got to secure my own copy. When I got my own copy, there honestly was nothing to learn from that perspective. So if it's possible for you to learn a game from a friend or have an introduction to it, that, in my opinion, is the absolute ideal. Now, supplementing things, YouTube. Absolutely YouTube. Whether it's going to be just an unboxing intro video where you get the scope of the rules and you get kind of the flow of the game, or it might be an in-depth turn 1, turn 2, turn 3 type play. That's absolutely fantastic. I don't always turn to YouTube. It depends a lot on the game itself. And this is a very fine line to walk, and I understand the time and effort and passion, and I appreciate it, that goes into making board gaming playthroughs and videos. So I don't mean that from a disrespectful angle, because just being a YouTuber, a vlogger in this case on my Wargamer Fritz channel, but 3 other channels that I run that I'm very, very involved in, I know the effort. I know the love that goes into it. So the reason why I don't always show that love and want to watch those videos is because I don't want any spoilers. Right? Gloomhaven is a great example. When I was jumping into Gloomy, I felt great. I'm like, I got it. What's everyone talking about this game? It's baby cakes. Then I find out like I'm playing all the rules wrong. And not only am I playing them wrong, like I'm not discarding cards correctly. So I always have a fresh hand. I'm making some major rule mistakes. But and a lot of Gloomhaven, I'm careful. I'm very careful with spoilers because I don't want to ruin any missions or give you an idea of places on the map. You got to discover it. So in exploring that, I was very careful to watch the Gloomhaven playthroughs that are only the introductory mission 1, because that's designed to get you through the rules and to stumble through it. I didn't really want to watch other missions. When I was jumping into Kingdom Death Monster, the rules are pretty straightforward, but there's a couple of places where you're kind of wondering what to do. I had to be very, very careful. Very, very careful with KDM because the whole game is about exploration and discovery and figuring things out. So I didn't want to hit from that perspective. So YouTube, I see it as a double-edged sword. Absolutely fantastic, amazing, amazing resources that will get you up to speed. But in my opinion, it depends a lot on the title. And I don't want to give away any spoilers deliberately or just I'm watching it and all of a sudden I can't unlearn it from that perspective. So turning it over to you guys in the comments, ideally, in your opinion, being a board gaming enthusiast, what is the best way to learn how to play board games?